Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's a new year, it's time for a new project pan. So I'm here today to share with you guys my intro to my project pan for 2022. Can you believe it's 2022? Where's the time going? It's just crazy. So if you haven't seen my previous project pan videos, I will have them linked in the description box down below if you want to go back and watch last year's or the year before. But the way I'm doing my project this year is the same as every other year I've done it. It'll be a rolling project. So as I run out of things or as I use things up or hit pan or hit my goals, I will swap those products out for another product at that time. So we're going to start with 8 products. And I'm really excited about it. I think we're gonna do really well this year. Last year was awesome. I learned a lot my first year, didn't do super great that year, but this is gonna be a good one. We're gonna nail it. Okay, so let's dive straight in. I do have a few products that are rolling into 2022 from last year's project. So let's start with those. And the first one is this hair treatment. So this is the Roze plus Quartz hair mask. I have made a decent dent in this already. So last year I started with a very full jar and I'm right here now. So I'm about 2/3 of the way done with this. It's a really nice hair mask. It has a really beautiful scent to it, really hydrates the hair, helps to detangle it really well. I do have too many hair treatments on hand, so that's one of the reasons I'm adding this back into the project. I want to continue to work through those hair treatments. And just work through what I have. So starting with that, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by this one if you've watched my previous project pan videos. This is the Physicians Formula Talc-Free Mineral Wear Mineral Loose Powder. I have the shade Translucent Light, and I worked on this for the entire year last year. So I obviously don't use as much powder as I once did. I used to run through these very quickly. I did put this into the project last year because Physicians Formula is no longer cruelty-free. I don't want to throw the product away, but I would like to work through it and get it out of my collection. So I'm going to continue with that goal this year. So as you can see, there's not a ton left. This is the only powder that I used on my face, like all over my face, for the entire year of 2021. So surely we can get through this by like maybe the midway point of the year, just being a little bit more realistic this time. So hopefully we're gonna get through that one. Surely we will by the end of the year, but I'm hoping by like mid-year with that one. This one I think I'll be able to work through within a couple of months. Another product that's rolling in to 2022 is the Butter Bronzer, again from Physicians Formula. When I put this into the project last year, I just had a little tiny baby pan, so we've really expanded the pan on this one, and I think it would be really cool to just use it up completely. I have all of these products on today, other than the hair mask, obviously. And I do really love this bronzer, especially in the winter time when I tend to be a little bit more pale because it is lighter. This is the light bronzer shade, and this is really great for me this time of year. I do tend to have a heavy hand when it comes to like blush and bronzer, so this is a good one for me because while I still don't look at my nail, I'm missing a nail. I just realized that it's showing. I'm gonna tuck it under. Because I tend to have a heavy hand with my cheek products, this is a good one for me to use this time of year. So I think we'll be able to do it. We hit this major pan within a few months last year, so I think this year is the year we're going to use it up. And then the last product that I'm rolling into 2022 is the Covergirl Clean Fresh pressed powder, and I have the shade Translucent. It just looks white in the pan. But as you can see, you really can see the rings through the product there, so I think we are very close. This is the product that I use every day to set my concealer underneath of my eyes. I absolutely love this. I definitely will repurchase it when it's gone, but I have a few other powders in my collection that I'd like to test on the under eyes, but for right now, this is the one that I'm loving, and I think we'll be able to hit pan on it relatively quickly. I was pretty confident that we were going to hit pan on it by the end of December, and I was wrong. So shows what I know. Now moving into the 4 new products that are moving into the project. And let's stick with cheek products for just a moment. And I have this little baby Lou-manizer. So this is from the Balm. This is like a deluxe sample size that I got in an Ipsy bag long ago. It's been a few years since I did Ipsy, and I really love this little teeny tiny Lou-manizer. I have this on as my highlight today. This is sort of like the OG blinding highlight that sort of started that whole trend, but you can use it on like a fluffier brush and sort of shear it out so it's not so blinding. I used to use this sort of as like my travel highlight. Like if I was going away, I would put this in my little makeup bag, and other than when I travel, this tends to sort of get lost in my collection because it's so teeny tiny. It's just a little like cardboard package. So, and I find now if I were to travel, I would probably just bring a face palette that has everything, you know, bronzer, blush, highlight, everything in one thing. So I thought it would be fun to just use this up. I have used it a lot over the years, but it is pretty tough to use up a highlight. So it'll be interesting to see how long this actually takes to use up, even though it's such a small size. And because this is such a nice light color, for my complexion, I can use it as a highlight, but I can also use it as an inner corner highlight. So I have a couple of ways that I can use that one. And then I've got 3 complexion products that we're gonna add into the project. So starting with a primer, this is the Touch in Sol No Poreblem Prime Essence. I got this in a BoxyCharm quite a while ago, and it does expire this year in 2022, so I do want to use this one up. It was really hard to tell how much is in here. It's a very opaque bottle, but I think we're about here, so it's almost a full container. And this is actually really nice. So this is like, it's almost like a water serum in a way. It's just like a hydrating primer essentially, which is what I personally like, especially this time of year in January when I live in Canada, it's very cold. My skin, even though I tend to be a little bit more on the oily side, I do still get dehydrated. So this is a great one to use this time of year. It's really liquidy. So sometimes those products tend to be a little bit easier to use up. We'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of work through this one, and I haven't used it a ton since I got it. I just have too many primers in my collection, so that's another reason why I want to work through this one. And then I debated between like a foundation or like a tinted moisturizer or something like that. Last year I worked through 2 foundations and a BB cream. And so this year I decided to just go with this one. This is the Missha Perfect Cover BB Cream. I have the shade number 23. I have this on my skin today. This is very glowy. I did powder my face, but it's still quite glowy. So nice for me this time of year when I tend to be more dehydrated. I think this would be tough for me to wear in the summer, though I did bring this on my last vacation when I went to Cuba in 2020. Early 2020, obviously. I did bring this with me, and I did really like it down there because it does have an SPF of 42. And while I wouldn't rely on this entirely as my sunscreen, I do still have sunscreen on today. It is nice to have that added sunscreen in this one. I don't think Missha is cruelty-free, so that was the reason that I chose this one. It's also one of the older BB cream tinted moisturizer type products within my collection, and I decided to go this route rather than a foundation because I do have some foundations in my collection that I'd like to play around with different formulas, mix and match and things like that, whereas this will be the product that I wear on my more no makeup days. I'll wear this on the weekends. While I do have it on today, I think it's going to be great to mix in with other foundations. There's just a lot of different ways that I can use this one. And then last but not least, I have this concealer stick. So this is the Trestique Conceal, Cover, and Correct Crayon, and I have the shade Porcelain. So I got this again in a BoxyCharm, and I've been using this one as like a spot concealer. So I have some pigmentation on my forehead, on my cheeks. I do get some texture and breakouts on my chin area. So I like this for the spot correcting because it's just a really lightweight formula. It's not as cakey as like a liquid concealer where it's hard to just get a tiny bit onto those areas. This you can just kind of draw it on. It's pretty like lightweight. It's not super opaque, and I like that better for coverage on the face. I find the more coverage you add to texture, the more enhanced that texture becomes. So this is a nice product for spot concealing. What I did was I made a mark on a piece of paper. So I think the primer leaked onto my little piece of paper, but this is my list of products that are in the project pan. And then on the back of the piece of paper, I did a mark there. So I just did like this and marked it there. So that's how we're gonna track that one. I did do a paper tracking on my first project pan and I ended up losing the piece of paper. So we'll see. I'm gonna keep it in the box where I keep my project pan empties, and then hopefully that'll help me to keep track of that piece of paper. But I think I'll be able to work through this relatively quickly. I've only recently started using this and I've already worn down like that. It used to come to like a point. So I've already worn that point down. And I'm using it pretty much every day. Even when I'm not wearing makeup, I'm still sort of covering the pigmentation just with this. So I think I'll be able to work through this, well, definitely within the year, but it would be great if I could work through it maybe by the midway point, because I have a few other concealers like this in my collection. So those are all the products that I'm adding to my project as of right now, January something. It's the 6th today. So I'm really excited about this project. I gave a lot of thought to what I wanted to add into the project this year and which products I wanted to work on. It's a lot of sounds. It's a real tongue twister, these videos. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below what you think of my choices, if you have any guesses on which product I'm going to use up first. And also, if you're doing a project pan this year, I'd love to hear about it. What products are you adding in? If you have a channel, please share it with me. If you're on Instagram, please follow me. I'll put my handle here on the screen. You can follow me over on Instagram. I love it when you guys DM me over there as well. So I always love chatting with you guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon in another video. Bye.